piece for The Atlantic, Zachary D. Carter wrote about yesterday's election in Virginia. He wrote, quote, Republican Glenn Youngkin's victory in Tuesday's Virginia gubernatorial election was about schools. It wasn't about Donald Trump or inflation or defunding the police or Medicare for all or President Joe Biden's infrastructure agenda. It was really about critical race theory or transgender rights. Though those issues shaded the situation a bit by highlighting anxieties surrounding the education system. Fundamentally, the contest was about schools, specifically how many parents remain frustrated by the way public schools have handled the coronavirus pandemic. The good news for Democrats is that education is only narrowly beating out the economy as the top issue for Virginia voters, and that McAuliffe came close despite running a clueless and lethargic campaign. Democratic leaders in Washington also can't do that much more damage to local politics than they have this year. Barring a wild new development over the next year, Democrats should expect to lose Virginia's 2nd, 7th, and 10th congressional district a year from now, and be ready for a dogfight for the 4th district. These losses alone would be enough to eliminate the current Democratic majority in the House of Representatives, absent offsetting victories elsewhere, end quote.
I find his whole take lethargic. Honestly, I didn't care much for his view.
Because you disagree?
Yeah, because I disagree. I think it's assigning something very easy without going into looking at how much more was at play in Virginia this year and how much is it going to affect things. The midterms were already lost. The midterms were already lost when we lost redistricting rights in the 2020 election. But we look at things like during the Trump administration.
I apologize for interrupting because I want to pull that soundbite out. You think we've already lost the midterm elections?
Yes. In the House, for sure. Yeah. For certain. But you look at who was winning during the Trump years. A Democrat was elected governor in Kentucky. A Democrat was elected to an open seat, albeit briefly, to an open Senate seat in Alabama. Now, neither one of these swung enough to change the election in the presidency 2 years later. But the fact is, this can be a warning bell. But just to assign it to one issue, like education, I think undersells and tries to paper over the real problems that Democrats are facing next year.
I think it's going to be time to band together and, fight against the future Trump people, because they're out there and they're ready to fight as well. So, I mean,
I'm curious, all of us think that our silver bullet against the werewolf, who is Donald Trump, is using Donald Trump's name. And in this election in Virginia, they weren't able to do that. McAuliffe was not able to call Trump out enough to have substantive effect. And the Republican candidate wouldn't even be seen or associated with Trump, but wouldn't reject Trump because he wanted Trump's base, his rabid base, but he didn't want to associate with him, and that seems like that strategy worked. Yeah. Is that the strategy playbook that we're going to see over the next 12 months? That Trump is going to be minimized, and the worst of the Trump base is still going to support candidates like this, and as a result, we are going to lose the House and maybe lose the Senate.
It could be, Al, and now scary times are coming.
Yeah.
I mean,
just because we have a Democratic president doesn't mean we have control.
Yeah, we're going to have to first, I think, for a couple of weeks, lick our wounds and have pity parties. And then around December 1st, we got to rally back and go, okay,
we've got to get
mofos,
to work.
the war's on. Right?
Bring me a grease board and write down all the things we need to address straight on, whether it be education or the economy in Virginia and other places, and say, this is what people are looking to hear about, so let's focus the election on
The
it.
one silver lining that I've read a lot about today, which I agree with, the one silver lining is it's only Virginia and maybe New Jersey, and probably not going to be New Jersey, but it's only Virginia. So the Democrats get to see the rap in the mouth that they take in Virginia, and maybe that's the wake-up call to say, okay, for the next 12 months, unless we want the country to go this way, we better do something different. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ